Issue number 3 starts with the Taskmaster searching for clues to catch Deadpool. He exclaims that it is always hard to catch Deadpool, but now he is leaving a trail of dead bodies. Taskmaster exclaims that at one time or another, he has mimicked more than half of the people Deadpool has murdered. So whenever he sees one of them, it feels like a piece of him died too. He curiously questions himself about the current location of Deadpool. Now the scene shifts to an abandoned building where Deadpool has kidnapped Professor Xavier. He throws water at him to wake him up and tells him that if he dies now, then he will miss the show. The professor asks him why he is doing all of that, and he asks him if he thinks that any one of them feels anything. The professor replies, of course, and then Deadpool tells him that the next part will gonna suck for him, and he stabs in his leg. The scene shifts to the members of the X-Men who are trapped in a maze. Cyclops tries to use his laser to get out of that maze, but instead his laser reflects back and traps his head. His teammates tries to help him, but it explodes and all of them dies due to the explosion. Meanwhile, Deadpool was looking at the screen, watching all of them dying. The scene shifts to the other members, and Colossus was trying to hold the metal walls to save his teammates. But unfortunately, they all die too. Deadpool's inner voice tells him that the professor is trying to get inside of his mind, so let him see what is going on inside of his mind. Deadpool grabs his face and tells him that everyone thought that he is crazy, but the main problem is fourth wall. It's the fourth wall that's been crushing him. When Professor tries to look inside his mind, his nose starts bleeding and he passes out. Deadpool looks at the monitors and Magneto dies a cruel death, and other members were trapped too. Deadpool watches Wolverine getting inside the building, and he was ready to take him down by himself. Wolverine gets inside of the room, and Arcade asks for help, but Wolverine refuses because Arcade always tries to hurt him and his friends. However, when Wolverine looks inside of the other room, he was shocked to see that his daughter and clone were trapped inside the machine that burns them whenever their body tries to heal. Now Wolverine and Deadpool clash with each other and fight begins. Mid-fight, Deadpool tells Wolverine that his power is not his healing ability nor strength. His power is popularity, and he plans something really good for him. And then Deadpool chops of his head. Now the scene shifts to the Taskmaster, who went inside the Doctor Strange's home to find out clues. All of the books were opened, and the whole place was messed up. Even Doctor Strange and Monk dead bodies were laying there. He opens one book and looks at the sign Deadpool left in that book, and he was shocked.
Issue number 4 starts with the reporter telling us that he has never had such a massacre before. All of the superheroes and villains are fighting with each other and everyone is dying. Everyone is participating in some mass suicide pact, and they are willingly throwing themselves into the mouth of death. However, some religious radicals have proclaimed this to be the end of the days, and other exclaims that it is the hubris of these supermans that is finally catching up with them. Suddenly, Punisher snipes Deadpool from the window, and he smashes the door and walks inside the building. He looks at the dead body, and exclaims that he wants to see Deadpool's face one last time, before shooting him in the head, but he was shocked when he realizes that it was a doll of Deadpool. It was a trap of Deadpool and he was standing behind the Punisher. He uses his doll puppet and shoots him in the brain, killing him on the scene, and now he exclaims that he is planning on something bigger and he decapitates Galactus' head. The scene shifts to the Supreme Beings. Thanos was dead and even Silver Surfer was dead too. Now finally Taskmaster tracks down Deadpool in the jungle while Deadpool was standing there in the swamp. Taskmaster walked towards him, and Deadpool's inner voice says that they don't want to be forgotten, but it was very strange that the Taskmaster heard Deadpool's inner voice. Deadpool taunts him and they clash with each other and the fight begins. Taskmaster easily imitates Deadpool's moves, which makes him unbeatable, and he throws his sword. Deadpool tries to take the sword from the distance, but when he picks up the sword, Taskmaster throws his shield and breaks his jaw, but he gets up again, and they start fighting with each other again. Mid-fight, Deadpool's inner voice informs him that Taskmaster's memory is kicking in, and his reflexes are mimicking theirs, but surprisingly, Taskmaster tells him to shut up, and his voice questions if he could hear them, which he responds that obviously he can hear them. Deadpool questions Taskmaster that he can mimic anyone's fighting style and guess their next move, so tell what his next move will going to be. Taskmaster gets scared and takes a step back because he predicted the danger. Suddenly Man-Thing grabs Taskmaster's face and burns him into ashes. Man-Thing predicts the motive of the Deadpool, and he sacrifices himself to open the gate. Deadpool's inner voice tells him to go inside the gate, and Deadpool walks inside of the gate. He sees multiple realities and different moments from different universes. His inner voice tells him that he has to find the center point and remove it from there. However, suddenly Deadpool falls inside of the office, and their directors and producers of the Deadpool comics was sitting there and talking with each other, and Deadpool's motive was to kill them. But he tells us not to worry about those jokers because he will be done with them before we even know it. Please subscribe and feel free to comment below if you have any questions about the comics.